All right, let's dive into the world of Arreqqana. It's this incredible place that's, well, literally woven from threads of both science and spirit. And the best way to get our heads around it is to follow the story of one traveler who arrives on the planet and, get this, instantly becomes 3 years younger.
I know. It sounds like something straight out of a fantasy novel, right? But for the people of Arreqqana, this isn't magic. It's a fundamental law of their physics and their spirituality. You could say it's the very first thread we need to pull to start unraveling the mysteries of this amazing world.
So who is this traveler? Her name is Yaya Venecia Kasira, and just look at what her name means. The beloved thread child who returns through the silver dawn. It's basically a prophecy, isn't it? She's the thread child, the one who is always meant to come back and connect two very different worlds. Okay, let's get into our first section. The girl who aged backwards. Seriously, her story is the key. It's what's going to unlock everything for us. The physics, the cosmology, the very soul of Arreqqana. So here's the crazy part. The core fact of this whole thing. Yaya leaves her home on East Moon as a 17-year-old. But the very instant she sets foot on Arreqqana, boom, she's 14. 3 whole years of her life just gone. It's wild. So the big questions are, where did those years go and why did this happen? Which brings us to Section 2, a tale of two worlds. And like I said, the answer isn't magic, it's actually physics. It all comes down to the cosmic rhythms of her home, East Moon, and her destination, Arreqqana. These are two places that just, well, they experience time in completely different ways. Take a look at this comparison. You can see right away how different they are. A year on East Moon, a whopping 486 days. On Arreqqana, it's a much shorter 324. But here's the real kicker. The most important part of this whole chart, that time drift at the bottom. The entire temporal field of East Moon runs 3 full years faster than Arreqqana's baseline.
And all of this leads to what's known as the temporal law of reversion. The math is actually super simple. You take her age from East Moon, 17, subtract that 3-year time drift, and you get 14. It's a law of physics, plain and simple. But, and this is a big but, on Arreqqana, physics is only ever half the story.
So let's talk about that other half. Section 3, the planet woven from threads. For the people of Arreqqana, what happened to Yaya isn't just some interesting scientific curiosity. No, for them, it's a deeply profound spiritual event. They have a name for it, thread renewal. And this is fascinating. Where we might look at aging backwards and think, wow, she lost 3 years of experience, they see it completely differently. To them, it's like the soul is shedding an outer layer of time to get back in sync with its original true rhythm. It's a rebirth, a kind of spiritual realignment.
So for Yaya, this isn't about going backwards at all. It's more like a second coming of age. It actually marks her as something very special, a Arreqqana or a chronal child. Think of it like this. She's someone who now exists between 2 timelines, able to bridge the wisdom from her fast-paced home with the, let's call it, deeper resonance of her new one.
All right, moving on to Section 4, Arreqqana's people and places. Because this whole philosophy of threads, it's not just for special cases like Yaya. It literally shapes their entire civilization. So let's zoom out for a minute and take a look at the bigger picture. First off, just to give you a sense of scale, we're talking about a planet with over 1.3 billion people, and all of them are living inside this very unique system of beliefs.
And that population is spread out all over the place, across really diverse landscapes. You've got the coastal realms, which are kind of the main hubs for trade and learning, but you also have these huge, thriving communities way out in the desert heartlands and along the fertile river valleys.
But here's what's so crucial to understand. It's how they define themselves. This chart you're seeing, that's not about ethnicity or nationality. That is the thread resonance distribution. Your identity is based on your inner spiritual essence. Are you aligned with flame for courage, or river for emotion, maybe stone for wisdom? It's a whole different way of thinking about who you are.
So you have to wonder, right? What does science even look like in a world where everything is believed to have a resonant essence? Well, it looks a lot less like trying to dominate nature and a lot more like having a conversation or maybe even singing a sacred song with it.
Their version of the scientific method is called the path of resonant discovery. And check this out, it doesn't start with a hypothesis. It starts with kiyayalin, a listening phase. You listen first, then you align your curiosity with what you've heard.
Then comes the dance of proof and resonant replication. And only then, after all that, is the new knowledge accepted into the collective weave. The whole process is about finding harmony, not forcing an answer. And this way of thinking goes all the way down to their chemistry. Their periodic table, it's not organized by atomic numbers. It's organized by these elemental threads. They classify matter based on its consciousness. So an element they call netor, or firestone, isn't just some rock that burns, no. It's the physical manifestation of the flame thread's essence of transformation. Everything has a deeper meaning.
Okay, final section. A world in harmony? Because when you have this deep a connection to the living essence of your world, it's naturally going to affect how you govern yourselves, right? Especially your relationship with the planet. This isn't just some vague philosophy. For them, it's actual policy.
Their land care policies are all about maintaining balance. For example, a full third of the population has to live in rural zones just to make sure people stay connected to the land. They do these things called resonance audits to literally measure the energetic health of the land. And if you break the rules, you don't pay a fine. You pay in thread hours, basically mandatory labor to restore the harmony you messed up. And this belief, it's just perfectly captured in one of their core sayings. When a river sickens, so too does the heart of Arreqqana. You see? For them, the planet isn't a resource you just extract things from. It's a living, breathing being, and its health is directly, intimately tied to their own.
So, the story of Arreqqana, which started with this one girl mysteriously getting younger, really ends with this much bigger question. It's a world built on the radical idea that harmony isn't just some lofty ideal. It's a practical, achievable law of existence. And it kind of leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What would it take for us to really listen to the song of our own world?